Welcome, everybody, wherever you are. It should be Friday, and we are Athletics LLC. We are without our illustrious, most recent host. So the duties have been passed to me and baby boy tonight. We're going to try our best not to screw it up. How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Pretty good, pretty good.
How's it going?
I love the name changes as always. So we're going to jump in with the most recent big news in the world of sports. College football playoffs are over. Michigan Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh are the NCAA national champions. Did we watch the game? What do we think? Governor, go for it.
Great first half. Looked promising. Looked like this was a game that was going to possibly come down to whoever had the ball last. And then the second half happened. I was talking about this with a colleague of mine about what Washington had to go through to get to the championship game. And it just looked like, in terms of scheming, in terms of blocking, and I'd say their offensive line basically wore down. They just got to a point where having to deal with the Texas D line and then having to deal with the ferocious, the Michigan D line was insane. And they just kept replenishing and replenishing. And I think eventually they just wore them down. So all the time that Penix had to pick and pop and pick people apart, that was not there in the second half. And that turned out to be the difference. Some missed throws, some, missed timing. And the next thing you know, you're down 2 touchdowns, and then you start looking up. And by the time the game was over, Penix was beaten and battered. I mean, he walked off of that field like he just, he was in a war. So, but but yeah, I mean,
he was
it
battered.
was, yes, he was. So I think the victory was well deserved by Michigan. I think they did what they needed to do. I don't think it would have mattered. I think they were a team of destiny, by hook or by crook. I'll leave it by that.
Chewy.
So the game was on. I wasn't intentionally watching. I was doing I think I was working actually, on the laptop. So, but every time I did look up, I was like, man, as salty as I was watching last week's games, just as salty this week, and just as reminiscent of how we didn't show up either, like playing scared. And that's literally what I don't know if I said it out loud, but in my head, I was like, they're playing scared. Washington looks so out of sorts. And so in realizing missing pieces today, as I was overhearing conversations about my office is right next to the kitchen. So I heard every conversation about the game. About missing running back. Is that who was missing?
Yes,
for Washington?
He was banged up.
Yeah. So that part, I saw Penix get stepped on or fallen on, whatever it was. That part.
By his own lineman. Yep.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it sucks sometimes, just like we did last year. You get to the game before you're actually ready for the game. And that's personnel and administration alike. That's fine. Yeah, they kind of I felt it for them being TCU, like the deer in the headlights. And you could just see it and you're like, snap out of it. And I think it really held true to I don't know about all of TCU's fan base, but all of TCU that I heard today, I had the same resonating sounds.
No new frame.
No game comes down to one play, but it's 20-10. Offensive coordinator calls a great play. Play gets executed in a great fashion. Washington scores. And poor number 73 on their offensive line, who unfortunately, was just in a blender all game.
Yep.
Actually did a relatively good job on the play and got called with we're going to call it a phantom holding call, because the number of holding calls that Michigan was not called for is not relevant. I'm not a homer one way or the other. I didn't go to either one of these schools. I don't really care. But the point is this. If they score there, the game is 20-17,
yep.
and it is probably a great game to the end.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, it's 20-10 and 1st and 20. And at the end of the day, that play right there ended the game, because they not only don't get a first down, they kick the ball, and their defense has to be on the field sooner than they should have been. Then they give them a 59-yard running play, and Bob's your uncle, they score. And the floodgates open.
Yes.
After that, their defensive lines just pinned their ears back, took crazy. Poor Michael Penix, who actually is a really good quarterback and is probably going to be a good pro. He looked shook.
Yes.
He couldn't throw, he couldn't make screen passes. He couldn't throw the ball to wide open receivers, because if we're honest, if he's at his best, they might win that game, because he missed 2 touchdown passes.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, it was hard for me to watch. I am very much not a Michigan fan in any way, shape, or form. I'm even less of a Harbaugh fan for 9 million reasons. But I'll say this. Michigan has been through more than any team in the entire country. And whether you believe, in whatever they were accused of, guilty of, whatever it is, what you can't argue about is that they've been through more than any team in the country. And for coming through that all, they probably deserve to win a national championship.
And you could also go back to last year, what that team and how many of those players came back for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so often that goes terribly.
They're terribly wrong. Yes.
Usually when kids stay in school to come back, they end up thinking, why did I do this? So I'll give the Michigan kids credit for that. I mean, I don't remember the last time Michigan won a national championship in football.
26 years.
26 years, that's right.
26 years.
Okay, so first of all, and respectfully to the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area, TCU, don't compare last night to last year, because it ain't even comparable. Just stop all that.
Really? That's what we're gonna say?
Oh yeah, because trust me,
okay,
Chewy ain't the first person I've been having to hear that nonsense from.
I know. Clayton's been sounding off on the internet all day.
So listen, watching the game, if you want me to sum up the game, I sum up the game actually pretty easily. NFL coaching is better than NCAA coaching, and that was on display on both sides of the ball all night. I love Michael Penix, but the Michigan defense and the plan for the Michigan defense had that boy out of sorts and off of his spot, running for his life all night. He literally they literally beat him up. You don't see that.
They did actually beat him up, and I will say that.
He looked like a battered boxer at the end of the game. He's holding his ribs. It was
walking into the tunnel.
Walking up the it was a great shot. Great camera work. But for all, and this isn't necessarily directed at No New Friends, because he's not even in the top 100 of Harbaugh haters that I know. I am so here for the Harbaugh petty show. I am so here. Jim Harbaugh has been being flamed since he got to Michigan, as if that dude is not a brilliant coach, as if he's not a minimum top 5 coach of football, period. Successful at San Diego, successful at Stanford, took those places as far as you can actually go at those jobs. Was one play away from a Super Bowl championship with Colin Kaepernick as the quarterback.
Let's not say Colin Kaepernick like that's disrespectful. That dude was
No.
good.
No. But let's also not rewrite history. It was Jim Harbaugh who made the decision to go to Kaepernick. It was Jim Harbaugh that developed the talent of Colin Kaepernick and got him to that height. So, yeah, blah, 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 Kaepernick, that's all Harbaugh. And then he goes to Michigan, who was dead, and does nothing but win since the time he got there. And now here we are. And honestly, I hope he takes his ball and goes home, AKA to the NFL, because
he's going to San Diego.
Because he's bigger than the NCAA football.
Mm-hmm.
He just is. Like, NCAA football is chaotic. The rules don't make a lot of sense. It's not organized. Jim Harbaugh, once he got equivalent talent on his roster, ran through the NCAA, dominated Ohio State for 3 years straight. That dude is a brilliant football coach. And even though I was, loosely rooting for the Pac-12 swan song, agenda, Michigan deserved to win that game. They were the better team. They had more talent, and they damn sure were better coached, both sides of the ball. And if he does leave, Sharon Moore deserves that job. And that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, from the standpoint of when you speak about an NFL game, right? One of the things that always seems to happen in the NFL, in the Super Bowl, is that at some point during the game, a player who we've never heard of comes out of the woodwork and does something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
In the game last night, number 7. Did they game plan for him? What was his name?
Edwards.
But
Edwards has been a good running back. It's just Corum gets all the
hurt.
Yeah, he's been hurt.
Yeah. Right? So they're game planning. They had to have been game planning for Corum, but they did not game plan for Edwards. Yeah. And the 2 runs that he had, I mean, pretty much told you, like, oh, wait a minute. Who is this? So, yeah, I mean, I think obviously, with the pedigree of Jim Harbaugh going into a game like that, you had to know there were going to be wrinkles, there were going to be things that the opposition had not seen, and I think it showed up.
And I'll say one more thing about the Harbaugh and the NCAA thing. The reason I really love the work he's done there, look how he built his team. From the inside out, old school, muscle, punch you in the mouth type football. While everybody else is doing all this trendy whatever, he's like, nah, I need a fullback, and we're just going to pound you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome. Now, no new friends, since we're going to transition to NFL in a second anyway. No new friends threw something out there, and we can hang there for a second. Does Harbaugh go or does he stay? If he goes, where does he go? No new friends, you say San Diego, huh?
Well, okay. Look, there's like 8 jobs open, and San Diego's the only one with a quarterback you want to keep.
Sure.
So in the NFL, that's the only job that makes any sense. You don't go to the Titans because it's an absolute mess.
You mean LA Chargers? Oh, you just refuse? Okay.
I refuse to listen. It's the Pac-10 and the San Diego Chargers. All this other nonsense can go what it is, but yes, the LA Chargers.
Okay.
Because look, at the end of the day, Lord knows he's not going to the Bears. If Belichick leaves, he's not going to the Patriots. Like, he's not going to the Titans. He's definitely not going to Atlanta, because Atlanta has ridiculous expectations and no quarterback.
Right.
So I got the, obviously San Diego's the obvious job. I got the other job for you. Washington. They actually have good players on that team. He gets to live next door to his brother, not play against his brother because they're on opposite sides. The whole Harbaugh family relocates to the DC Metro, and they meet in the Super Bowl in theory, right? It's a weak division. It's a weak division. I'm just saying, I could see that one happen. Chewy, what you think? Does he stay? Because I think he goes.
I think he goes just because, I mean, he did it right. He did well the first time, right? I think Michigan is a confidence booster. I think he's kind of feels secure in the position again. I think he goes.
Well,
I mean, like, let's call it what it is, right? He won a national championship at Michigan.
Mhm.
It is like literally in the college football pantheon, it will not get any harder to do anything than what he just did.
Right.
That's right.
Then probably the next would be like if Nebraska won. Or
Right. It's like
what I'm
it's
saying?
like the old school blue bloods are not winning anything anymore.
No.
And he just did that, and that's not going to happen again.
Exactly.
And he ran through Saban to do it.
Sure did.
And I'm here for all of that. Say all those things. I'm good with it.
Well, I mean, think about it like that. But this is the reason I'm a fan of his and I respect him. As Saban's the GOAT, as far as I'm concerned, at the NCAA. But he flamed out in the NFL.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh. Like
Those are the only two college guys that actually still have jobs in the NFL.
Yep.
Right? Like they can go back. Nobody is rushing to get Nick Saban to be their NFL coach. Let's just call that what it is.
No.
And he's great. He's great. But nobody is rushing to have him be their NFL coach because coaching adults is different.
Yeah.
It just is. Like at the end of the day, I won't even say it's harder. It's just different. And if you don't acknowledge, if you can't do the different part of that job, it's damn near impossible to be successful.
Yep.
Well said. Well, transitioning to, and no one gets off the hook on this one, my favorite time of the sporting year. The NFL playoffs are here. The fields are set. The games start tomorrow if you're watching us on Friday. And who do we have? There are all the games picked. I want Wildcard weekend predictions, and then I want your Super Bowl matchups because we did the way too earlys, which I'm sure no one remembers. Chewy,
I do.
Chewy, you're first.
All right. Wild cards.
First is Browns Texans.
Yes. Governor, thank you so much for this visual aid. I was like,
No
oh.
problem.
Oh, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hold on 1 second. My AirPods just died, so I have to change this.
Oh, no, you're good.
Oh, wait. Okay, I got it. Okay, while I transition. All right, so picking the phone back up. Browns versus Texans.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the love of mouse, the Browns.
Okay.
Because, I mean, someone's got to make it out of the game. Somebody.
So, someone take notes on this, by the way.
Okay.
Chewy has the Browns.
Okay.
Dolphins, Chiefs.
I got to go with the Chiefs. I can't say the Dolphins with confidence, even though they are looking good. Give them that.
Packers, Cowboys.
Ugh. Ugh. I mean, I gotta say
At Cowboys.
I gotta say the Cowboys. I can't believe I just said that out loud, but I did. Ugh.
Steelers at Bills.
You know, as much as I like to watch, or I used to like to watch the Steelers play, I think the Bills are going to take that one.
Okay.
And then Rams, Lions.
Chewy just blowing through her picks. I love it.
What'd you
Rams
say?
at Lions.
Rams, Lions. I can't say Rams for nothing, so it's got to be the Lions. That's even a
All right.
worse throw up. I don't even care if they were supposed to win. I just no.
And then the toilet bowl matchup, Eagles at Bucks.
I'm going to say Eagles because I'm a Kelsey fan. He's a
All
good.
right. Give us your Super Bowl predictions. Matchup, Super Bowl matchup.
Super Bowl matchup.
I'm going to stick with Niners Chiefs. I said it before. I did remember that one. I do remember that. Niners Chiefs. I still think it's Niners Chiefs.
All right. No new friends. You're on. Starting at the top. Now we can't hear you. You're muted.
I said, just tell me who's playing. I'll tell you who's going to win.
Okay.
We don't get no extra. Okay. Browns at Texas.
What extra do you want? I'm gonna give you a movie with no commercials.
Browns at Texans.
Browns.
Dolphins at Chiefs.
That's laughable. Chiefs in a blowout. And I
Blowout,
love
he says.
I love the Dolphins. But let me just tell you for the record, it's supposed to be 9 damn degrees when the game starts.
They just changed that to -5.
Yeah, there's gonna be pulled hamstrings in Miami. So let's continue.
Packers at Cowboys.
The Packers, unfortunately, are not real enough to beat the Cowboys, who are real enough to beat the Packers.
Steelers at Bills.
Steelers, absolutely love the Steelers. There is no way they're beating the Bills and Bills Mafia in Bills Mafia dumb.
Rams at Lions.
Who cares?
What?
Lions.
That's the most intriguing game.
That is the
It's
most
not the
intriguing game.
It's not the most intriguing game.
It's the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff Revenge Bowl.
No one cares about any of that. I will say this. I'm gonna pick Lions. I hope to God that Laporta can play because God is he important in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the toilet bowl, Eagles at Bucks.
No. Okay. Can I revert my who cares to this one? I'll say it again.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Listen, my Giants couldn't beat the 5 of us and 6 other players, and they slapped the Eagles to sleep.
Yeah.
They did.
Who were the Eagles playing?
The Buccaneers.
Bucks. Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
The game's in Philly, right?
No, the game is in Tampa.
The game's in Tampa.
The
Philly
NFC South champion.
Philly fell to
Buccaneers.
number 5.
That's right.
Yeah. And I don't want to believe that. I'll say this. If Tampa was more of a physical team, right? If Tampa ran the ball, I would actually pick them. But listen, I don't know a running back on their team, and they definitely can't run the ball well enough. So they're going to create this false narrative that the Eagles' defensive line has a resurgence. So I'm going to pick the Eagles, but it's only a matchup issue. Like if they play anybody who can run the ball, they're going to get slapped.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The governor, the freezing governor.
Oh, wait, hold on. You wanted my Super Bowl pick.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Super Bowl prediction matchup.
The Fighting McCaffreys against the Fighting Mahomeses.
Okay.
And the Fighting Mahomeses are going to win again.
Wow.
For the record, I have not changed.
Wow.
I said
you and Chewy have
before the
stayed.
season started.
That's
I said it in the middle because at the end of the day, the only thing the Chiefs have to figure out how to do is catch the football. Like literally, they play great defense, and hell, they play marginal offense with guys that can't catch the football. If they figure out how to catch the football, they're good. So I'm going to stick right there.
I'm going to come back to you on that one in a second. The freezing governor.
I got
Browns at Texans.
Browns winning. I have the Chiefs winning. I have the Cowboys beating the Packers. I have the Bills beating the Steelers. Losing TJ Watt is probably the straw that broke the camel's back there.
For the record, really quick before you continue, can we get a shout out to anybody with coordination? I mean, TJ Watt just had his season ended probably, and his career in jeopardy, probably not, because the guy is clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just unfortunate. Folks, can we recruit coordination? Okay, go ahead, freezing governor.
The Fighting Staffords versus the Fighting Goffs. I will give the advantage to the Fighting Goffs. The Stafford Revenge show will stop this weekend. And then the Eagles Buccaneers, I have to think that even with the slide of the Eagles in the past, I think there's probably a little bit of, well, we're going to the playoffs anyway. Let's try and get somewhat healthy because they have been beat up like no tomorrow. So I have to think they're going to be just good enough to beat the Bucs. I don't. I think it also helps that they go to a warmer weather too. I think they're going to play better. Not that I want to see them any time after this weekend either, for the sake of my Cowboys. But oh well. And then as far as Super Bowl, yes, I have to go. I go Niners, Ravens.
This is amazing to me. You people who I love are hilarious. First of all, you're stubborn because if I'm not mistaken, everybody but the governor has held down on their preseason Super Bowl picks, which never works. Secondly,
mine does, because the last time I did that, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
But the matchup was wrong, I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
But the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
That's fine.
Who cares who they beat?
That's fine. The point was the matchups. But here's the thing. It's wild card weekend, and all of you knuckleheads picked chalk.
Yep.
You all picked chalk.
Yep.
That is not going to happen. Okay. No chance is that going to happen.
Okay, so if chalk happens next weekend, you do the show with your shirt off.
That's right.
No one wants to see that, but I will wear.
I do. I want to see that
dunce cap or something.
No, you have to wear a wife beater. You have to wear a wife beater.
And a do-rag with a cigarette in your ear.
I'll figure it out.
You're gonna do one of these right here.
Right here. Yep. Absolutely.
All I'm saying is never in the history of wildcard playoffs has chalk prevailed. Like never. So it ain't gonna happen this time. My theme for this is believe what you see.
Okay.
The hardest game for me to pick, I feel like it's the Browns and Texans.
Okay.
Because Joe Flacco has saved the Browns, and I'm here for that. I really like CJ Stroud, and I think DeMeco Ryans should be the coach of the year.
He's done an amazing job.
Listen, if DeMeco Ryans doesn't win coach of the year, I'm going to say this right now. I will literally boycott watching the NFL for a whole last year. That man took the number 2 pick in the NFL and parlayed that into a playoff team.
Exactly.
Right.
Not a good team, not a wow, that's a really good resurgence. A playoff team.
Yeah. That's right.
That's not coach of the year. That might be coach of the decade.
Hey, I'm here for it. It does help that the Jacksonville Jaguars are choking dogs.
Jesus Christ! Listen,
but that's neither here nor there.
That is the antithesis
of what guys. They went from a 96% chance of making the playoffs with a 2-game lead in the division to losing the division and not making the playoffs. That is almost mathematically impossible.
It actually. Exactly right. But what did I say? Believe what you see.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen the number 1 defense in the NFL all year. I'm rolling with the Browns.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you. Because I was like, at the end of the day, like, listen, I think CJ Stroud is special.
No.
I think he's going to get exposed, unfortunately, because the Browns defense is real.
Insane.
The wild card weekend storylines are amazing. In the Tyreek Hill revenge game, Dolphins at Chiefs. I don't care about the weather per se. I really don't. I think the Dolphins could actually beat the Chiefs in theory, but here's the thing. The Dolphins are pretenders. And at every possible opportunity to prove that they're not pretenders, they show that they're pretenders. The only thing relevant that they've done this year is beat the Cowboys. Like, they're pretenders. So I will take the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I actually think it's going to be a pretty damn good game because the Chiefs this year are also pretenders.
Stop it. You don't believe that.
I do.
No, you don't.
They're not good enough. The Packers at the Cowboys. Now, again, believe what you see. The Packers are good enough to beat the Cowboys. If Jordan Love plays the way he's played the last 5-6 weeks, Packers are good enough to beat the Cowboys. They're talented. They're fast. They got real skill position people. The problem is their secondary is trash, and that's the one thing that Dallas has been doing really well.
And their best wide receiver is hurt.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys because I'm not dumb, but if anybody was to choke at home, it would be Dallas. But I want it on the record that I picked the Cowboys.
All right.
Now
You did.
the Steelers at the Bills, as much as I respect Mike Tomlin, and I do, and how he keeps pulling this shit off, I could not tell you.
I don't think anybody in NFL history knows how this has happened.
Yeah.
I told y'all before the season, and they did a lot of things to try to screw it up. But there's a difference. Even when Josh Allen is out there throwing picks, he's the man.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bills are a whole problem now that they are in the tournament. I will be taking the Bills, the number 2 seed. Okay? If you started off the year and you said the Bills would be the number 2 seed and the Chiefs ain't the number 1 seed, they would take that all day. So they're in a great position. I will take Josh Allen and the Bills. The best game and the best storyline is the Rams at Lions. Like, how do you not love this?
No,
This is
the best game and best storyline is is without question Chiefs in Miami. That's the best one.
Yeah, go get her. You've been waiting to see her all day. Go get her. Go get her. Yeah, so where are we? The Rams at the Lions. Man, I really want the Lions to win this game. I really do. But I don't think, I mean, we know Laporte is not 100%, and he is necessary.
He is necessary.
So as sad as it's gonna be, I'm gonna roll with the Rams there. I know. The Rams are well coached, and Stafford coming back to Detroit to put him out the playoffs is just too good. Right? It's just too good. Now, I don't even think the Eagles-Bucks should be allowed to play in the playoffs, for the record. But again, believe what you see. I don't want the Eagles to be this bad. I want, by some kind of way, to watch the Eagles put the Cowboys out of the playoffs. But, bro, they're bad. They're just not good right now. They're bad. They've been playing bad. The defense is stupid. Like, if you actually watch the games and know this much about football, the defense is mentally inept. Baker Mayfield's going to win a damn playoff game. Jalen Hurts got hurt in the last game. He hurt his hand. He already was hurt. He was having trouble running, and now his hand is hurt. Baker Mayfield's going to win a playoff game. A home playoff game, because the rules are stupid too. So I got the Bucks. And that is my non-chalk picks.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember. But I feel like my gut tells me at the beginning of the year, I picked Bills versus 49ers. Is that what I did?
I can't remember, but that sounds right, if I'm going to say.
It feels like something I would have done.
It definitely feels like something you would do, for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm if that is what I did, and Chu will check the tape and come back with us next week. I feel like that's what I did. If that's what I did, I'm not mad at that pick. I'm still not mad at it. But I believe what I see, and the Baltimore Ravens are just that much better right now. Please, Lamar. Please.
You know, it's funny. Like, I don't necessarily think that the Ravens are the best team, but there's definitely not a team that's better, if that makes any sense. And they are for sure playing the best, and they for sure believe in what they're doing more than any team in the NFL.
Yep.
I'm a little concerned because they locked up the number 1 seed. They basically took last weekend off, and then this week they're going to be off again. So it's really 2 off weeks.
Yes.
And let's be real. Lamar Jackson, as great as he has been, already been an MVP, about to be a second MVP, has not proven it in the playoffs. But in the AFC playoffs, other than Patrick Mahomes, the only one that has proven anything as a quarterback is Joe Flacco. So
that is also true.
This is Lamar's moment, and he better step into it. I'm going to go Ravens 49ers. But someone roll the tape. If it's Bills 49ers, I was on that early. And those are the only two teams that are coming out of the AFC.
Wow.
Oh, he said it with his chest.
Oh, chest out. Chest out.
Said it with his chest.
All right. So now that we have led our audience all the way away from everything track and field, let's close in with some track and field nonsense for ourselves. We all understand that legally indoor season started in whatever, November, December, but no one cares about any of that. It is indoor season. Everybody is basically going to be opening their season for real this upcoming weekend, including, I believe, everybody on this screen.
Not us.
What are we most looking forward to?
Oh, you're not going?
No.
No, y'all not in? Okay. Well,
I thought
two-thirds.
I thought y'all were going to take the last minute invite.
Two-thirds of us and 3/4 of the LLC will be opening their seasons this weekend. What are we most looking forward to from indoor, both from a collegiate perspective and from a global perspective? Freezing Governor can. No new friends hasn't gone first yet. No new friends.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to go first. I think collegiately, this year's indoor season, outdoor season for that matter too, is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a very allow me to introduce myself. My name is. I think it's going to be a lot of that. Because if you look at the Bowerman is kind of what we base things off of, right? If you look at the last 2 years Bowermans, we've known all those people for a long time.
Yep.
And I think other than Mr. Hibbert, I think this year's Bowerman dais of both genders is going to be some people we've heard of, but we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year is going to be a lot of introduction of superstars in college track. In pro track, I'm old, so I understand how relevant what I'm about to say is. I think experience is going to matter a tremendous amount in the Olympic year. I think those who have been there before are going to have a marked advantage over those who have not. We will have some newcomers because that is the nature of the way that the track and field world goes. But I think we're going to see a fair amount of next steps and emergences. I'm very interested to see who actually decides they want to be the best 100-meter guy in the world in the Olympic year, because God only knows. Like, if we go all the way back to the last Olympics, there's not been a repeat champion from year to year. So that's been interesting. Will Sha'Carri follow up last season? Like, is that the new Sha'Carri or was that a blip? I think the world is about to realize that Cameron Rogers is probably going to be one of the best track and field athletes to ever do track when it's all said and done. Because I think that last year's World Championship is the beginning of a ridiculous run.
Now I want to pause you there for a second because I agree with everything you said, but the question was, what are you most looking forward for indoor? And I don't think Cameron Rogers throws indoor, and I doubt if Sha'Carri steps on an indoor track.
I missed the indoor, and I'll say from an indoor perspective, World Athletics has done us a wonderful disservice by having such small fields. So I think the indoor is going to be a very interesting one. I think Grant is going to do what he always does and remind everybody that he's way better over 5 hurdles than anybody else has ever been. I am looking forward to a return of Christian Coleman to being the greatest 60-meter guy we've ever seen. And I'll be honest with you, my favorite two people to watch indoors are Miss Rojas and Mr. Mondo. You know, the two one-name folks from indoors, Rojas and Mondo. And I think just like normal, I think World Athletics is smart enough to put them both on the last day of the meet. And the combined event will be over, and I'll be sitting in the stands watching world records tumble again.
Big league.
All right. So my first statement covers NCAA and pro. I'm excited to see how these new tracks that all erected this year pan out.
Okay.
I really am. I think they all look very nice on social media. But will they produce these championship times that they're all coining themselves to do before even a race has been run?
So Kansas State has the fastest track in the entire world.
And all of us will be standing outside looking at it from
just
the
folks,
outside.
just to see how folks get to Kansas City.
But yeah, so like, but honestly, that is true. Not that is true. My statement is I really do want to see what these tracks that everybody's invested in produce. Not for any type of pettiness, literally for the times and the marks. Collegiately, I want to see which collegians start setting even more space apart from the others, being that it's an Olympic year, right? Today on social media, it said South Carolina featured Jamisha Ford running for Olympic times already. I was like, oh, cool. But we'll see what happens come March, right? Whatever, or up until March. Pro-wise, I'm looking just forward to see who actually cares.
I mean, that's so good.
It is.
Who actually cares, right? Because, and so I've only been around the pro circuit for what, the last 3 years, give or take. And literally in the beginning, we all start out excited, like, okay, which indoor meets are we going to go to? You know, what's the championship this year? Where are we going to have to go? What do we need to do? Is there a championship? And then I feel like end of January, first week of February, we're like, all right, outdoor season. Like we're looking towards Mount Sac, doing all these things. Where do we have to go in Europe for a deck? And I'm like, but what happened to indoor? And you know, and I from what I understand, that's not a foreign concept in other training groups, not just in the multi, but for other training groups, period. So I'm interested to see who actually cares.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the governor is going to be brilliant on this for some reason. So I'm going to let him go last. I'm going to jump in here and say that somehow, some way I have been rubbing off on Chu. Chu has taken influence from me because she stole both of my answers. And I meant both of them in the most petty way possible. I'm so here for all the new tracks going up. First of all, it's very, very necessary from an NCAA perspective. And I don't even know all of them, but the fact that Kansas State has a world-class venue coming online. And when I say venue, guys, I don't care about the seats and all of that. I'm just talking about the tracks. Like 200-meter banked, Mondo, wide as can be. Like, I'm here for it, right? So Kansas State has a new track, the Texas A&M new facility, Kentucky, which is a whole SEC school, and I feel like that's the most quiet of the new tracks. Like, no one's really talking about that Kentucky has revamped their entire situation, right? More tracks should mean more opportunities for more people to run really, really fast, because it's difficult. And sometimes exclusion happens to get on the 5 best tracks in the country, right? So if more of these facilities are coming online, it should produce a more diverse competitive field when the descent and order lists come out, right? So I'm really here for it, and I hope that they're done well, and I hope the meets go well, but I'm absolutely here for the new track issue. And then, yeah, who cares? Who actually cares about the pro indoor track scene in an Olympic year? The answer is usually nobody. The answer is usually whoever's getting paid to be there, right? And the fact that, you know, by the accident of the calendar and all these things. That we actually have a world indoor championship this year is wild, but it does exist and it will happen and there will be athletes in it. And so strategically, I'm interested to see, not just from the American perspective, but from everybody, which of the global professional stars give a shit enough to screw around during the indoor season, knowing that the biggest of prizes is on the table. See, for people like Mondo, who, let's be real, he doesn't really have any competition. It's Mondo against Mondo. He's going to be around because he's going to collect his dollars and do what he need to do, right? He doesn't, it's just him, Rojas. It's just her, right? But the American sprint scene on the men's side is wide the hell open.
Yep.
And who's going to take that time seriously and who's not is very intriguing. So I'm definitely here for the who actually gives a damn about indoor. And I'm so mad that you stole that.
But I think to me that's why the resurgence of Christian Coleman indoors is so important, because unlike everybody else, him running a dominant indoor season actually means something.
No, yeah, right. Because that's his game, right? Like that's
right. Nobody else, like we'll see whether Noah actually can really start. That's about it.
But I mean, and to the point, we might only see that once.
Mhm.
Someone will cut Noah a check to go run a meet, but then will we see him again? You know what I mean? Like that's, these
Does
are
anybody else find it funny that there's a race being ballyhooed between Fred and Noah in the 60?
Yeah,
that
two
is
people that typically can't start at all.
Yep.
that is hilarious.
Freezing governor.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for so eloquently, giving your take on what is coming up in this indoor season. I think everybody has put forward some very valid points. The fact that 3 or 4 tracks that have come online, that is
At least 4.
at least 4, right? I've been hearing about how good South Carolina's track is, and I've
And that ain't new.
Right. So what would happen if they actually start bringing in quality competition? Because I understand that there was a methodology prior, as far as the use of that track. What happens if now they're putting on meets like Clemson and you're bringing in better teams and that sort of thing? I think we could see some bang up results early and often. I haven't heard anything about the track in Chicago. I mean, that's another facility. We're going to see some things happening. The A&M track gets christened this weekend. Big league. We will
report back.
Yes.
Depending on you to report back as to whether sterile means the same.
That's funny.
But I think this NCAA season, when you think about the magnitude of the talent that moved on and are going to be vying for their first Olympic medal, the Jujus, all of the athletes that have come in and just made the 2023 season so memorable. This year is a year of the athletes that were a cut below. Okay? Like, we're talking about Oregon. He is someone that I cannot wait to watch run the 200 this year. He was right there in the mix. I think he had some injury issues in 23. I'm also, is Gregory done or is he back?
He's back.
Okay. So that could be the rivalry that were all looking for in a 200 this indoor season. Kelia Smith just got mentioned as someone that's going to be on the Bowerman watch list. She's the one that scored in both events last year. I'll be really curious to see how she improves in 2024. And then you have Hibbert and Pinnock. I mean, good Lord. I mean, dare we say, if Pinnock comes anywhere close to the 850 range, he's knocking on the door of the NCAA record. Okay. Now, and where's his home track? Only one of the fastest in the country and one of the most explosive tracks in the country. So that's going to be something between him and Hibbert. I mean, what are they going to lay down this indoor season? So I don't, is Terrence Jones back?
I don't remember, but I'm going to go ahead and look right now.
Yeah. So, I think as far as the pros are concerned, I just have one question. I mean, and perhaps no new friends can answer that question. Are we going to see that matchup of the best heptathletes at World Indoors? I mean, would they even dare to put that together? Because that would be the show, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'll just say no.
Okay.
There was already someone announced for going today. I can't remember who it was.
Well, all I can tell you is number one in the world is not going. I don't believe. I know for sure number two in the world is not going. I'm pretty sure number three is going, considering we coach him. So I will say this. I guess I'm breaking this story. The way the World Athletics puts together the field for World Indoors and the combined events, it goes through the top 5 scores from last year. There was a tie between 2 U.S. athletes. And I don't know exactly what the rigmarole was behind breaking that, but I can tell you today that Harrison Williams was invited and that Kyle Garland has to compete for the second U.S. spot.
Wow. Okay.
I can tell you that much. And it's wild because the U.S. probably should have 3 going to World Indoors, and they will not. You can only have 2.
Okay.
So to the governor's point, he threw a name out there that I'm very intrigued about on the pro scene. Julian Alford.
Yep.
Go look up how many races Juju ran last year. How many indoor races Juju ran last year?
Yep.
Oh,
Is that the model moving forward? If it is, does it work on the pro level? If it isn't, is she ready when she needs to be? Like, these are the kind of things that first year pros have to always struggle with. And she might be the highest profile of them all.
And there's a ready example for her that just left Kentucky.
Yeah.
And went through her first season. Injuries, all of that popped up. But there should be ample research into whether that formula will work at the pro level.
To answer your question, Terrence Jones is listed as a senior on the Tech's roster. So this will be his final.
All right.
That'll be interesting.
Can he come back and defend his title?
I'll let you know in 2 weeks, if not before T1st, because we are headed there following weekend.
All right.
So relevant, not relevant. We talked about the NCAA for just a moment, and someone talked about Bowerman watch list. Did anybody see what I saw according to the women's Bowerman watch list?
No,
did anything stand out?
I didn't see it at all.
Addie Wiley is featured. Addie Wiley is a standout NAIA athlete. She was at a Division I program prior and then went back to Huntington because of her coach.
Well, it's very, very cool that they threw her in there. They've done things like that before, highlighted Division II, Division III, NAIA people. And then maybe not NAIA, but Division II and Division III for sure. It's dope to see the NAIA get some preseason Bowerman love. Let's be straight up. That young lady could win 6 events at the NAIA with 60 points by herself and break 6 records, and they're not going to put her on the dais at the end. I'm not saying that they should or they shouldn't. I'm just telling you they're not going to do it. So it's dope that they shouted her out. I hope she can hang in there for as many weeks as possible. But at the end of the day, they're not going to do nothing with that.
Much like a certain individual from Pitt State last year, huh?
Pitt State,
well, and so similar, right?
Vashti Thomas.
Yep.
We've seen this movie before.
So similarly, similarly, she's had global success. But she does not have quote unquote D1 success to be recognized from the alphabet.
Pick 6 events and win them all, girl.
Sorry, I had to say that part.
How many of us are looking?
No. That's very good call. Good catch.
How many of us are looking forward to the Michaela Rose, Rosin Willis battle
matchup? Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
That's going to be fun.
Always.
Yes.
Always. Well, I think we have set up the indoor season nicely. We are definitely here for the NFL playoffs. Definitely wishing our partner in crime here, Sir Lucius, well wishes, whatever he is doing that is keeping him off the show this evening. We appreciate you, sir. And we will see you all next week, where someone else will be hosting, I'm certain.
Round robin.
But look forward to the receipts, predictions, and from the first opening weekend of the indoor season. For everybody, appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Receipts.